Hello and welcome back to Shadow of Mordor, Part 33, and in this episode, we are continuing on with yet more cleanup.
Rescue slaves.
Yep,
Slaves for days.
well, not days, but several hours. And snipe. And snipe.
No stipulation for stealth here.
No, because, it's a rescue mission, and, yeah. I do like how Shadow Kill, shows off just how afraid that the Uruks can be of us when we really want to inspire fear.
Oh, this is fear inspired. This is true horror realized. We are a flying blade of death. Haha. Doing all kinds of horrible shit to people.
Now the bonus objective here is actually pretty simple. Just grab a few of the Uruks, throw them over, and then reset them up. You will want to take down each of the ranged attackers for this, though. That way you don't end up getting speared or arrowed.
Always take out the ranged attackers first.
Well, not always, but usually.
You could try. They'll cry. Then they die.
Snipe.
Your brains are
So what's
feeble.
new in the world of Cloud today?
Stuff. I'm glad to feel that much closer to a routine that makes me feel like good worker bee. And how are things in Gurdat life?
Gurdat life is decent, mostly uneventful. I started playing No Man's Sky again after No Man's Sky Next came out. So far, I have to say that I have a very similar experience as I did when I was playing last year. But that's mostly because I started all over again because No Man's Sky Next just flat out almost requires you to start all over again.
I saw that they made some kind of update, maybe to give you like a greater sense of accomplishment during the game.
Kinda. A lot of the features that were being lied about before release have officially been incorporated into the game. There is multiplayer now. I don't care about that. You have the ability to apparently own a whole fleet of ships, which is cool, but not something that I care about since I'm mostly here for the exploration aspects. And yeah, the tutorial actually works, so there's that. I've not finished the tutorial yet because honestly, I don't think I'm going to finish the Awakenings tutorial for a while. I want to actually build up a sizable base on this second planet of mine before we really start expanding out.
If you're building a fleet, does that mean that you can like PvP fleets?
I don't know if you can PvP, but there are definitely spacefaring factions that you can attempt to do a space battle with. Although I personally think that the space combat is absolute shit.
Just as long as it's better than faster than light.
Did FTL actually have space combat?
It did. It was more like over-the-top real-time strategy. Like it looked closer to like a sim simulator than like an actual like space combat. You only knew you were in combat with a ship because it showed you a picture of the ship that you were engaged in combat with.
So a lot more like Master of Orion.
Well, I can't say because I haven't played Master of Orion.
Master of Orion 2 has got one of the best space exploration aspects to it, despite the fact that it's we're traveling to Udun. That's right, we are, this is the part where I have to go back to Udun in order to do a survival challenge, specifically hunting down specific herbs, because the herbs that I need for this survival challenge do not actually spawn in the Sea of Nurnen.
Welcome to Triple Teardrop of Volcanic Fury.
Not really. Yeah, but we're looking for Lorthrin, which is one of the mushrooms that only spawns in Udun. So this part is mostly going to be us running around looking for herbs.
Sweet.
Not really, because the whole reason we're doing it this is again to to fill up that arbitrary 50% quota that I wanted to have um, at the end of the game.
50% completion.
Yeah. But yes, once you start the Sea of Uruk chapter, you can, at any time go back to Udun. And honestly, you might want to. Mostly because now that you actually have access to Brand and the entirety of the Nemesis system, setting up Udun for endgame stuff can be, really, really nice. It's not something that I usually care to do because you don't really need to do it, but you can do it, and it's, there's more value here then.
Taking care of business.
Branding all the Uruks every day, stealthing around their hostages every way.
Getting more friends my way. They leave everyone and go away.
No, we are on the border of two different areas.
These guys are borderline screwed.
No, they're totally screwed. And Brand.
So whenever you fast travel in this game, what happens to your branded buddies on the ground?
They go around.
They just go around.
Yeah. A large portion of them will end up despawning, but for the most part, the game remembers what particular orcs that you have branded. Just
I suppose it was my imagination.
That's amazing.
it ties into the Nemesis system, to be perfectly honest, and it's a good thing in general, but it's not very believable,
Yeah, it has to have. I don't like the idea that the game might despawn some of your branded guys, because any amount of uncertainty makes me feel like my actions would have no consequence.
Yeah, but thankfully your actions never actually have no consequence. They just can have, diminished consequences.
Yeah, there's a whole crowd of consequence over there. There's a blast.
There.
We found it.
North Rim mushrooms.
Soul Arrow.
Not a warrior.
Nifredel. Lothrund. Other thing I can't see on my screen.
All right, blue milk and mallows. Blue milk is a herb, is a fungal herb that is found almost exclusively in caves. So yeah, that's what we're gonna attempt to go find next.
Mushrooms. The great 10% energy at the bottom, at the next stage of the food chain.
I thought that was tubers.
Well, don't tubers eat mushrooms?
I don't think so. Mostly because, mushrooms don't really grow that well at the bottom of the ocean.
That's what you meant by tubers.
Yeah.
Well, I thought by tubers you meant like earthworms or other things in the ground.
Nah. I mean, earthworms in general eat just about everything.
Oh yes.
They're like one of the most perfect recycling engines on planet Earth. It's kind of cool that way.
They are some of the most necessary energy recyclers on planet Earth.
Keep your eyes open.
For although they receive only 10% of the energy from the bodies that decompose, they still thrive enough to be a force to be reckoned with.
That and earthworms are one of the few species of animals on the planet that don't actually have a growth cap, I believe it is.
Oh right, like they never stop growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then eventually they get boxed in like the anaconda in that one video game that everybody knows and hates.
Yeah, Dino Crisis 2?
I was thinking more like, okay, I'm positive, I would bet dollars that Time Splitters 2 did not invent the Anaconda game. That's actually based on like an existing computer game from like the 80s or something.
Dude, it's Snake. Come on.
Snake, that's it. See, I knew they ripped it off. Calling it Anaconda and shit, making it original. No. They're bald-faced fakes.
I believe you'll find that Anaconda was the Mac port of Snake back in the 80s.
So Sergeant Cortez uses a mech. Brilliant. Playing Anaconda and shit. If you guys don't know what game we're talking about the game where you're a snake, you have to eat things on the board, and then every time you eat something you get a little longer, so that eventually you have to like get around your own body without crashing.
Yeah. Other people might actually know it as the Star Wars Battlefront 2 loot box simulator game, or Mika Chase.
Yes.
We got another artifact. I'm not supposed to be getting any more artifacts, but you know, artifacts are important for the exploration of lore.
It's story time.
Kind of. This is an event that neither Talion nor Hirgon were actually here for.
They've served their purpose. They're damned. They're damned well out of my hair. Mordor can take the whole stinking lot of them. And send my compliments to the captain of the gates. I suppose he sent me this lockpick as some sort of joke.
Unless Hirgon was the one that did that.
The last place we want to be is the one place we are doomed to stay. And the outcasts fled into it to escape Gondor.
And it is here that the Dark Lord will gather his armies like pieces on a game board. Unless we stop him.
So chess exists in Lord of the Rings, right?
That is a good question. Probably. My answer is probably. Because chess dates back to at least the year 1200, although it's not exactly clear what the parallel year is supposed to be for Middle-earth. It's probably around. It's the classic game of strategy, and whenever there's a plot about generals and kings and armies, there has to be a chess metaphor somewhere. Or they do that thing where they got like the toy soldiers on the world map and say like, okay, we will push forward here as part of the mission, moving the little toy soldiers into the C4 position on the board.
Do you know the main differences between chess and shogi?
Well, I could elaborate, except I don't know what shogi is.
Shogi is effectively the Asian version of chess. It has relatively similar rules as far as I'm aware. However, it also has a very unique mechanic one of the main things that I almost know about shogi is that if you surround a piece with a bunch of your other pieces, you can convert that piece to your own cause without actually removing it from the board.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Otherwise, it plays very similarly to chess.
Yeah.
At least as far as I am aware.
Advance pawns, take pieces, occupy their spaces, kill the king. Yeah. Except I think the anglicized chess that you and I know is probably a bit more complicated because of like especially the rules that they had to add over the centuries.
Specifically for time.
For time and also actually it's more like a balance issue. For example, they had to invent en passant in order to balance the game because they discovered in the early versions of chess that usually all you had to do was just advance your pawns to the other side of the board and you probably were going to win, especially if you were white.
So how does en passant fix that?
En passant fix it because it gives the defender a chance to respond against an overly aggressive advance.
Okay.
Or wait, no, that's right. En passant is an offensive maneuver, not a defense. It's if the defense tries to sabotage you by moving their pawns across from your pawns because you advanced too far, then you can exploit it and take a piece. So they did that. I think it's more like the opposite of what I was saying. They're trying to balance the game so that aggressive advance is a valid strategy.
This is me attempting to find out where the hell the blue milk is, but you know, President Gurdet knows, but past Gurdet does not.
Past Gurdet must find in his little tour guide brochure the cave system.